Welcome guys to a chill little reading vlog. I use a random number generator to pick what books I read in this video because honestly I'm indecisive and I cannot choose myself. The first book that I'm reading is Aristotle and Dante Dive into the Waters of the World, which I read the first book a long time ago. Do I even remember what happens in that book? Absolutely not. But this is a sequel and I always want to try completing series. Some books I do think they do not need a sequel, so we'll see if this one is actually good or not. I'll be honest you guys, my first impressions when I started reading this book was that it's a little bit dramatic, just the way that they're talking about love at the beginning of the book. So I was a little bit like, but you know what, they're teenagers, this is a YA book, this is probably their first love. Literally, look at this quote. I see a longing in you, Aristotle Mendoza. A longing? Yes, a yearning. A yearning? He laughed. Those words live in you. Look them up. This book is about Aristotle and Dante, and that's the only thing I know because I'm gonna DNF this book. I haven't read that much of it, but I just don't think I can. As I mentioned before, the writing is very dramatic. The only thing that they've talked about so far is how much they love each other and how much they want to kiss each other, which, great, good for you. If that's gonna be the whole book though, I'm gonna get tired, I'm gonna get bored, because it is genuinely, that's all they talk about. Every single line, every single sentence is just them agonizing over that, and the writing is just, it's so bad. And it could be because it's YA and it could be because I'm past that, but this book is also over 500 pages and I do not think it needs to be over 500 pages. It's really interesting because this is a sequel. The first book came out in 2012, so it took 9 years for the second book to come out, and it's really interesting when a sequel comes out a long time after the first book, because I imagine that the author has to read their previous books, and I can't even watch my previous videos because it's just, I don't know, like I find it so cringy to watch my previous videos. So how would it feel as an author to read your previous book and then you have to create a sequel out of that? I'm trying to be a little bit more decisive when it comes to books that I DNF. If I don't like them straight away, then I don't want to read them. The next book that I'm going to be reading though is Eragon. I tried reading this book when I was in primary school, but I think it was a mixture of me being very young and it also being very fat that I could not get through it. And I do somewhat remember a little bit of the plot because there is a movie based on the book, and I know that it has dragons. I'm pretty sure the main character finds a dragon egg and then it hatches, and then that's all I know about the book. Oh yes, this is what Goodreads is telling me what the plot is. When Eragon finds a polished blue stone in the forest, he thinks it is the lucky discovery of a poor farm boy. But when the stone brings a dragon hatchling, Eragon soon realizes he has stumbled upon a legacy nearly as old as the empire itself. Overnight, his simple life is shattered and he is thrust into a perilous new world of destiny, magic, and power. I love that. I love books where we are going on an adventure, we're traveling the world, we're completing a quest, and I also love books where we have an animal sidekick where they are bonded, and in this one we have a dragon. They can read each other's minds and they are so cool together. I do find the book somewhat funny, just the way that it is written, because it felt like a game. We have a main character, Eragon, who finds this dragon egg. Then he also gets this guide who explains the whole history of dragons and the magic system, and along the way we meet a bunch of other people and they give him vague hints and kind of direct him to the path that he's supposed to take. And the reason why I say it somewhat feels like a game, it's because everything was just so easy. There were these issues that would arise, and then by the next page everything would be solved, and it led to the book being kind of boring, if I'm being honest, because there was just no tension when these issues would arise, which usually would create a lot of suspense, because a lot of the time either he was like being captured or he was in a battle where he was facing an opponent that should have been difficult to fight, but this 16-year-old boy, he ended up in these situations, but then the next thing you know, he's already out of it, mainly because there are other people to kind of save him. That was repeated throughout the book, so it got really boring, which is why it took me a while to read it. As I mentioned, Aragon, he's 16, and because of that, he is a little bit annoying in the book. But with books like this, I try to be more aware that they are young, so obviously they're gonna do things that I'm gonna be annoyed with. And another thing is, Aragon, literally, there are so many times throughout this book where he gets hit in the head, he gets knocked out. I truly don't think he knows how to do anything, because every single time he tries to do something, he just ends up blacking out. He also learns how to sword fight and use magic really quickly, and by the end of the book, he's said to be somewhat powerful, but just like, in my personal opinion, I feel like his skills and the development of them did not translate well, because literally a majority of the book was other people saving him rather than him doing stuff. The next book that I'm going to be reading is Three Body Problem. This is a sci-fi novel originally written in Chinese, which then got translated into English. I learned about this book through Stephanie Su, because she made a video on a CEO of the company, one of this company, who wanted to buy the rights of the books. He ended up getting poisoned and he died, and then I was like, what? I cannot believe this is an actual story. There's also a show on Netflix, but I heard it's a very, very good sci-fi book, like one of the best sci-fi books, so I'm really excited to read it. Guys, I have some unfortunate news, which is I'm in a reading slump, and I don't know why, because this video is actually a mood reading video, so it was supposed to be a chill little reading vlog. I was supposed to have fun, but I've already DNF'd 2 books and I'm considering DNFing another 2, and now I'm just like, I don't know what to read. Talking about the books, I have DNF'd Aristotle and Dante, which we've already went through. I started reading this book called This Poison Heart, which the whole premise of it is very interesting. Our main character can control plants, and also her emotions affect them. Because she's unable to control her powers, she can accidentally harm people, so she doesn't really use her power that much, and I love that premise. However, I wasn't really into the writing and felt like it was kind of dramatic, because there was this scene where she was talking about being in this park and there were a bunch of tourists around, and she was kind of like, oh, all these tourists, they're so annoying, they don't know that I am there, that I am dangerous, that I have this power to basically kill them, and they're just like living in their unaware little bubble. And I'm like, yeah, of course they don't know that you have this special power to grow plants. It was a lot of, I would say, telling rather than showing, a lot of listing. For example, she would say, I did this, and then I did this, and then I did this. It was more like her actions one after each other, if that makes sense. And I was kind of like, not really into the writing. As you guys know, I'm currently reading Three Body Problem, and I'm halfway through the book at this point, but I'm struggling to get through it. Part of me finds it boring, the other part of me finds it interesting, but I'm just not a science person. There's a lot of scientific theory within it, so I'm not fully understanding everything. The writing, in a way, keeps me kinda engaged, because I like the style of writing rather than what is being written, and the whole meaning behind the book is very interesting, but at the same time it feels like it's going nowhere. I'm halfway through the book and I'm just like, what is even going on? What are we doing? It feels like we are kind of building up to this certain ending, but it feels like nothing is being built, because it feels like to me that nothing is happening. But it's such a popular book, so I'm always like, I don't know if I want to DNF it or not, because I've already read half of the book, but at the same time that half was a struggle. And then I started reading This Woven Kingdom, which I have only read 5% of, and I'm considering DNFing it straight away because honestly, going into this book, I'm so confused. I wanted to get into a fantasy book because I'm reading the sci-fi book. I thought if I transition to a fantasy book, maybe it's easier. While starting this Woven Kingdom, I've read Shadow Me, so I have a preconceived notion of what Tahari Murphy's books are like. I enjoyed Shadow Me. I thought it was a very easy series to read. This one, I'm a little bit confused because we get introduced to this character and the writing just feels very difficult for me to understand because it feels very unnatural. We get introduced to this main character and I know that she feels cold and she is a jinn, I think. The writing just, to me, I was reading that and I was like, what is going on? Because I understand the broader scene, but it's just like each sentence I'm kind of like, I don't know, I'm not really into the writing. I probably will give it a further chance. So that's what's going on right now. I'm kind of struggling because I don't know, it's been taking me some time to read these books. I wanted to give you guys some examples of what I mean when I say that the writing in this Woven Kingdom is not really my favorite. This will be kind of a long passage, but chapter 3, it starts off with 𝐸𝐭𝐬𝐬𝐿 shoved into the early morning light. She's shoved out of bed, shoved on her clothes, shoved pins in her hair, shoved shoes on her feet, which after repeating the word shoved multiple times, I'm questioning, am I even saying the word right? Is this even a word? After this, she has a package that she needs to deliver, which is basically a commission of this dress that she made. As she tiptoed downstairs and after building the fire in the kitchen hearth, pushed open the heavy wooden door only to be met with fresh snowfall up to her knees. 𝐸𝐭𝐬𝐬's body nearly sagged with disappointment. She squeezed her eyes shut, took a steadying breath. No, she would not return to bed. It was true she did not yet own a proper winter coat or hat or even gloves. It was also true that if she raced back up the stairs this very instant, she might manage to sleep a full hour before she was needed. But no, she forced her spine straight, clutched the precious bundle to her chest. Today, she would be getting paid. The thing is, honestly, girly, she is relatable, okay? First of all, you open the door, it's snowing, it's cold, you want to go back upstairs to sleep, totally understandable. Then you're like, no, I need to go because I'm gonna get paid. So I'm doing this to get paid. That whole thing is so relatable. I don't know why, I'm just not the biggest fan of the writing. In the beginning of chapter 3, we have this repetition of words, which the whole issue that I think I have with the writing is that it seems to be very telling rather than showing. We're getting scenes of actions that she's completing and these thoughts that she's having while completing them or while needing to complete them. It feels like it's not flowing nicely. And in a way, I think this is a problem that I had with this Poison Heart. It feels kind of dramatic. In the beginning of this chapter in general, I don't care about her going to the toilet or that she would sleep longer. I know that she has a commission that she's delivering, but I don't really care about the way that she's packaging it. There's just certain descriptions that I think are kind of useless in a way, and when starting this book, I already felt it because it made it a little bit confusing. In the end of the second chapter, we get introduced to this man. I don't know who this man is. He's like the devil or a shadow or something, but we get no context behind his character, and he's just there, and she's like, no, you're not real kind of thing, and I'm reading it and I'm confused. So she meets this man. He also speaks in riddles, and she cannot tell if she's hallucinating him or not. And that's a very interesting part of the story. However, when it comes to first impressions, in my personal opinion, I need a good start for me to be interested in the rest of the book. So if it's not obvious, I did end up DNFing this Woven Kingdom. I don't know, maybe I will try again in the future. I think at this moment, I'm just not really in the mood to read it. I did read a little bit more of Three Body Problem, and as of right now, I think that I will continue on with it because I am interested to see where the story will go. And I do think that I will be able to finish it if I take my time reading it. I did start reading another book, which I watched the drama that is based off the book, and I decided, you know what, I want to read the book because I'm also really bad at watching dramas. I tend to skip through a lot of it, but I prefer reading the original material. I am actually pretty excited to read it, and I do really want to read it, but at the same time I kind of have no motivation to pick it up. So I'm in this situation where I'm excited to read this book. I know I'm going to enjoy it, I am enjoying it, but at the same time I'm kind of not bothered to read it, and I don't want to pick it up because I want to do something else. So that's basically how I'm in a reading slump right now, which is very sad because I don't know what happened the past couple of months. Basically this whole year I feel like I had a pretty good reading year. I was on a roll and I was enjoying other books that I read, and the moment I started this video, which was supposed to be just a chill reading vlog, everything went downhill. I got into a reading slump and it sucks, you guys. Hopefully I would get out of it sooner, but yeah, I think I just feel like I cannot read anything anymore, and I don't want to force myself to finish reading books to finish this video. But yeah, hopefully I will get out of my reading slump as soon as possibly can. Thank you guys for watching this video. Please like, subscribe and all that jazz, and I will see you guys in another one. Bye!